Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Fluctus channel. Few helicopters in history are more iconic and recognizable than the Boeing CH-47 Chinook. A tandem-rotor, heavy-lift aircraft first introduced back in 1962, the Chinook is capable of carrying up to 55 troops or 24,000 pounds of cargo at once. To this day, it remains essential to military and humanitarian missions around the world. Since the 1960s, around 1,200 Chinooks have been put into service. Despite being one of the larger military helicopters working today, the CH-47 only needs a crew of 3 to operate properly. This generally consists of a pilot, co-pilot, and a crew chief. The pre-flight process for a CH-47 Chinook helicopter typically involves several steps. As with pre-flight checks for any aircraft, this process aims to ensure the safety and readiness of the aircraft before takeoff. It all starts with an exterior inspection. Before entering the helicopter, the flight crew will conduct a thorough visual inspection of the exterior of the aircraft. This includes checking the condition of the rotors, engine, and any other external components. This process is followed by an interior inspection, during which all of the various controls and instruments are evaluated, as are fuel levels and electrical systems. Once the pre-start checks are complete, the pilot can start the engine. However, unless the Chinook is being scrambled for an emergency situation, it will spend several minutes on the ground after startup to ensure critical systems are functioning correctly. Despite its cumbersome size, the CH-47 has become the ideal platform for certain techniques. One of the most important of these is the pinnacle landing. This describes a process whereby a helicopter lands on a small, elevated point, such as the top of a mountain or a building. Since such an area might not be large enough or safe enough for a conventional landing, the pilot will instead place the rear section of the fuselage down while keeping the helicopter hovering. The Chinook's rear cargo ramp is ideal for this, as it provides a way for troops in large numbers to disembark or enter the aircraft quickly. After 6 decades, it's no surprise that the United States military and its allies have found multiple ways to utilize the CH-47. This includes specialized variants like the MH-47. Which is used for long-range infiltration of special operations forces, resupply missions, and search and rescue. The primary difference between the CH-47 and MH-47 is that the latter has in-flight refueling systems. This allows it to dramatically extend its range and continue on its mission without stopping for fuel. This refueling system consists of a refueling probe and drogue, and allows the CH-47G to connect with tanker aircraft like the MC-130J Commando II. Aside from this improvement, the MH-47 also boasts an integrated digital cockpit, a multi-mode radar, and improved avionics, increasing its overall versatility so it can adapt to whatever the mission demands. During the Iraq War, Chinooks and other helicopters played a pivotal role in many operations. In one particular mission in central Baghdad, Chinooks helped U.S. soldiers escape a combat zone, while Apaches and A-10 Thunderbolts enabled them to disable a car bomb. The bomb itself was parked in front of a building, which had been rigged as a trap for the waiting soldiers. Unfortunately, the only option was to destroy the building entirely. It's clear from such scenes that the Chinook is an invaluable part of these types of operations. Not only is it versatile enough to land virtually anywhere, but it can quickly get a large number of troops to safety in a matter of minutes. The Chinook helicopter possesses several unique capabilities. But perhaps one of its most impressive is its ability to execute helocasting drills. Helocasting involves the Chinook hovering just above the water's surface at a slow speed. As it does this, a small group of troops can enter the water via the rear cargo door. This maneuver is commonly used during special operations to get the troops to a maritime insertion point without being detected by the enemy. The Chinook is particularly well suited for this maneuver, thanks to its powerful engines, which enable it to maintain a steady hover at low altitudes. Most of the time, the deploying troops will throw boats and weapons out of the chopper simultaneously. In other situations, they might be rendezvousing with an existing team. Either way, any enemies monitoring the Chinook's radar signature will see it continue moving and be unaware of the troop deployment. The Chinook is a favorite of Special Forces teams who often need to pull off incursion and extraction operations without being detected by the enemy. But despite being a highly effective tactic, helocasting is also quite risky and requires well-trained personnel and skilled pilots to ensure mission success and safety. For this reason, teams practice with their Chinook crews regularly. The United States Army Reserve Best Warrior competition is a great example. Held yearly at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, this event pits individuals and units against one another in a series of war games and tests. At one point, they may be performing a helocasting incursion. Minutes later, they may march through the forest or perform a simulated boat rescue. Another insertion and extraction technique U.S. soldiers must train with is MHIET, or Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron Integration Exercise Training. These exercises generally take place at MARSOF, an event entirely dedicated to helicopter deployment methods. MHIET involves troops fast roping out of a hovering helicopter or tilt-rotor aircraft. It is essential to deploy troops into amphibious areas or landing zones too dangerous for a proper landing. Such fast rope maneuvers can take place in a variety of different aircraft, not just Chinooks. Ultimately, the military wants its soldiers to know how to get in and out of various situations safely and quickly, and it requires hours and hours of practice. For roughly a century, helicopters have played an essential role in getting soldiers to and from the battlefield. However, as technology has advanced, so too have the techniques for incursion and extraction. Alongside MHIET, United States soldiers will frequently participate in what's known as Special Insertion and Extraction Training, or SPIE, or SPIE. This course demonstrates what needs to happen when a helicopter can't get close to the ground. It involves using a heavy tow rope, which the soldiers in turn clip themselves to. Once everyone in the squad is attached, the helicopter heads into the air. The troops are then flown from one part of the battlefield to another while hanging beneath the moving aircraft. When all other methods of getting troops into a specified area fail, the U.S. military will call in the paratroops. These are men and women specially trained in jumping out of aircraft so they can infiltrate an enemy combat zone. Such operations can be done covertly or in the light of day. Nonetheless, paratroopers are at far more risk than regular soldiers and, as such, need to train regularly for such operations. Though the basic premise is the same, there are differences between jumping out of a plane and jumping out of a helicopter. Planes cannot hover, so jumps must be accomplished at several hundred miles per hour. Jumping from a Chinook, however, poses problems due to the small size of the cargo bay door. During the operation, the paratroopers will line up and clip their chutes to a metal line. As they move towards the back of the aircraft and jump out, the clip will automatically deploy their parachutes, just in case of an accident. Once airborne, they will float gently to the ground and be ready to fight in a matter of minutes. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.